With the official Battlefield 2042 trailer now available, I wanted to take a look at what it would require to rank Battlefield 2042 into the S tier when comparing it with past Battlefield titles. Starting with number 1, we have amazing maps with diverse locations and styles. In the official trailer and announcement materials, we've already seen some beautiful new environments that are promising at first glance. When I think of my favorite, most memorable Battlefield environments, maps like Strike at Karkand, Sharkey Peninsula, Damavand Peak, Siege of Shanghai, and Operation Metro come to mind. These maps all had unique atmospheres, a mixture of open land and closed sky building combat, and a general charm that just left an impression for years. Battlefield 5 maps have generally felt a bit samey. Although the visuals are definitely beautiful, much of the game ended up feeling like a hill climbing simulator where you're often caught out in the open as fodder for a single bomber plane to wipe your squad, or you face death by 1,000 snipers. Let's move away from these map designs that are mostly large fields scattered with a few houses here and there, with half a dozen snipers inside. For Battlefield 2042, I'm hoping to see a wide variety of indoor, outdoor, and mixed maps that offer dynamic play, intense battles, and memorable moments. Item number 2 on our list is solid infantry to vehicle balance. This is made up of two main factors: spawn rate and volume of powerful vehicles, and effective countermeasures available to infantry to take them down. I would love to see a great vehicle spawn system so that as a pilot or a driver, you don't have to sit there and wait in a redeploy menu trying to be the first one to click when your favorite vehicle becomes available. Instead, it would be awesome to see some sort of a queue system with the option to automatically redeploy without a death penalty into your vehicle of choice. We've also heard some information about vehicle drops that can be called in by players in the field. We'll have to wait and see how that works, but hopefully DICE can find a way to make these a fun part of the game and not oppressively strong. There's a very fine line of vehicle balance in these games, where infantry can work together to take out enemy tanks, choppers, and jets, while still allowing those vehicles to feel useful and provide a threat on the battlefield. I think one way to approach it is to limit or remove the ability for these vehicles to automatically self-repair, as well as bringing back resupply stations so that powerful vehicles can't camp in the same spot forever. It would also be great to see better interactions between air vehicles and ground units, where infantry has access to more skill-based gadgets, like the SRA, a TV missile, or a railgun that can snipe air vehicles. It sounds like team play is a big factor in the design of 2042 vehicles, which is exciting to hear. Let's hope that DICE finds a way to make operating vehicles more of a team effort. Next on our list is dynamic game modes. We've learned that Conquest and Breakthrough style game modes will be returning, which are classics of the Battlefield franchise, as well as a new mode called Hazard Zone and another mode yet to be revealed. I'd love to see some big innovations in this department that bring back those epic moments like the base jump on Damavand Peak during Rush, but on an even larger and crazier scale now that we have access to 128 player maps. Beyond the handful of modes announced during the reveal trailer, I'd love to see DICE push the envelope with even more innovative ways to play Battlefield. Perhaps something like a grand version of the Overwatch style mode where you push an objective around a map could be an interesting fit. It would also be cool to see mini objectives where players who aren't the best fraggers can still feel like they're contributing to the team effort by playing. This opens things up to be more enjoyable to a wider player base, which is a good thing for everyone in the long-term health of the game. I'd also like to see some infantry-only objective game modes, perhaps with some light vehicles that only allow transport around the map to get an occasional break from all the tank and chopper mayhem. It would also be great to see a return of some variant of the Battlefield 2142 mode, Titan. In this game mode, players captured missile silos that slowly took down the shields of an enemy Titan airship. Once the shield was broken, players could board the ship to destroy the Titan's 4 control consoles and eventually the central core. An updated version of this type of mode could be an awesome fit for Battlefield 2042. While fighting in these dynamic game modes, we'll need to adjust our loadouts to get the job done. Number 4 on our list is improved weapon and loadout customization. We've already seen from the news floating around the industry that the new game will feature weapons that allow for customization in the field. I think this is a great idea as long as it's implemented in the right way. One of the worst feelings while playing Battlefield 5 was to level up your weapon but not be able to upgrade your specialization until you left the match and returned to the main menu. In Battlefield 2042, I'd love to see the ability to dynamically change your loadout with weapons, attachments, gadgets, and perks quickly as the situation on the battlefield changes and calls for new tactics. We've already learned about some of the new specialists who seem to provide a new take on the class system featured in the previous titles. Hopefully these new specialists will allow you to quickly change up your loadout to go from tearing down tanks, to healing your teammates as a medic, to providing critical recon and even sniper support when called for. In addition to the ability to make these changes quickly and easily, I'm hoping to see some interesting near future attachments for these weapons. Of course, there needs to be some good balance of power and a reason to use these in different situations with trade-offs to ensure that one setup isn't the answer for every single situation, but ideally these loadouts will be easy to configure and switch quickly to meet the needs of the battle. Next up on our list is that feeling of all-out war. Yes, this can certainly be just a buzzword, but there's a magical feeling that players have become accustomed to in previous Battlefield games like BF3, BF4, and Bad Company 2 that's just felt missing in Battlefield 5. It's hard to put a finger on exactly why this immersion into an all-out war atmosphere feels a bit lacking, but I think if Battlefield 2042 is going to be a success, it needs to nail this critical component of the best Battlefield games, the feeling like you're part of a larger conflict and that your actions on the field are impactful. In Battlefield 5, you often spawn and feel like you need to run around the map just looking for the next fight, and then you die to some sniper camping on a hill or a random tank shell that finds your body. I think some of the focus on dynamic weather systems, huge explosions, and the Levolution can add to the game's sense of atmosphere and bring back some of this all-out war feeling, but a lot of it comes down to encounter design and map flow. In 2042, I want to see a focus on higher intensity gameplay where you can get back into the fight right away. A critical component of this effort is having maps that are well designed, particularly for larger player numbers, but there are also more nuanced design elements to consider, like having a well-designed squad leader system. Speaking of squads, number 6 is improved squad play. Personally, I'd love to see a return to at least 5 members in a squad, and maybe even bigger squads like we had in Battlefield 2. With massive 128 player servers, it's a bummer needing to split your group up just because of the limitation of just 4 in a squad. It sounds like the initial information on the game has been showing 4 squad members once again, but hopefully DICE might adjust the system with feedback during the alpha and beta testing. Even if the number does stay locked at 4, I think there's room for squad-specific gadgets to make team play even more interesting. It would be great to take a page out of 2142's design and have specific squad-focused gadgets that allow you to feel like your squad was really accomplishing something on the battlefield as a unit and was a force to be reckoned with. With larger player counts, we need organization of squads and players to feel like everyone's contributing positively towards a connected goal. That's why number 7 on our list is a solid commander mode. With so many players running around on the battlefield, team leadership and direction will be a major influence to winning matches. In particular, we've heard news about how some conquest maps will have sections of points where you need to capture multiple flags to own the whole area. Imagine how effective a proper commander mode could be, where players with a bird's eye view of the battle could coordinate squad leaders to take on particular tasks to help with the larger game plan. Although only 1 player per team would take on this role as their job, it's still an element of the game that I think makes the overall experience feel more complete and immersive. Next up on our list are amazing cosmetics. So far we've learned that there will be a paid version of the Battle Pass that will focus on cosmetics. I think this is a super important and wise move by EA to not split up the player base when it comes down to maps and game modes. These days in gaming, player skins, weapon skins, vehicle skins, and stuff that looks cool in general has become a big part of every game. Whether you love it or hate it, it's here to stay. Personally, I don't mind supporting development costs through cosmetic purchases as long as the core gameplay is solid and keeps me entertained. However, recent Battlefield cosmetics haven't really been up my alley. I'm hoping that we see some fantastic modern skins that excite the player base, but still fit in with the overall Battlefield aesthetic and the slightly futuristic vibe of the new game. Along with paid options, I also hope that we have desirable cosmetics that we can earn through gameplay alone. Ideally, these would be tied to things like showing off your dedication and progression with particular weapons, vehicles, and specialists. Hopefully they create the desire to grind out achievements and unlocks for the guns and add a sense of investment in mastering them like we had in Battlefield 4. Number 9 on our list isn't the most fun thing, but it's critical for early success, and that's having a clean launch with minimal bugs. Those of us who have been around the Battlefield franchise for a while now cringe at the memory of the first month of many past titles. It's hard to forget bugs like in Battlefield 4's launch where you could crash an entire server by taking down the skyscraper in Siege of Shanghai. To DICE's credit, they were able to fix many of the core issues with BF4, and over time I believe it became one of the best Battlefield titles ever, but let's not go down that road with BF 2042. I'm really hoping that we have a clean and stable launch with servers that can meet the demand of the week 1 player base and client installs that don't crash PCs and consoles. The user interface in Battlefield games has historically been not their strongest asset, so number 10 on our list is a solid UI design. In past games, the UI has been awkward to navigate, slow and clunky, and even downright buggy. Sure, this isn't the same level of priority compared to the core gameplay loop by any stretch, but having a great UI that is clean, simple, runs well, and is easy to navigate would be such a breath of fresh air for the franchise and a welcome addition to Battlefield 2042. I'd love to see them forego some of the fancy design aspects of previous games to make a UI that is functional and easy to navigate around quickly. It would also be great to return to a system where all of the assignments track simultaneously with no need to pick specific bounties. You should be able to work seamlessly on whatever achievements you want without needing to return to a main menu. And ideally, we'll have a ton of diverse achievements to tackle. No more lazy stuff like getting 20 headshot kills in a match while prone. Finally, number 11 on our list is the return of those crazy only in Battlefield moments. Whether it's a jet pilot climbing out of a cockpit mid-flight to shoot a rocket at an aircraft on its tail before jumping back in, a tank being blown high into the sky by friendly C4 before shooting a jet out of the sky, or simply guiding a rocket to take down a fully loaded support chopper, these only in Battlefield moments have become a staple of the franchise. We saw some creative plays highlighted in the trailer, and I think it's a great sign to see them embracing this part of the game. A sandbox that allows for creative player expression is one of the things that made games like BF4 so good over time. The ability to use your creativity and take advantage of the skill ceiling is a crucial part of a solid Battlefield game, and hopefully 2042 can deliver on that front as well. Over the years, one of the key aspects that I've come to appreciate about games like Battlefield 4 is the player freedom. There are so many fun ways to play the game. This freedom makes the game feel more engaging in the long term and keeps players captivated for years. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my coverage of Battlefield 2042 as we get to see more news about the game and hopefully our first taste of the gameplay later this summer. If you haven't seen it yet, I ranked every previous Battlefield game into a tier list. It's the video on the top right of your screen and also linked in the description.